Going to start off this way, Mark. First of all, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Michael.
ESPN.com, David Schoenfield writes a story, sorry haters, the Yankees are loaded and there's more talent on the way. Now, I've said this over and over. This is going to be a good year, but this might be the worst of the next 5 years with the amount of talent they have. You've seen it. You were down in camp. How impressive could this run be for the Yankees?
I agree. I agree completely with the amount of talent that they have. I saw some guys, Florial, McKinney. You have guys, Andujar, Torres, guys that are starting in AAA that are going to be all-stars someday. And I think the only question will be, how do the pitchers, do they step up? Does Sheffield become a stud? Does Adams become a stud? And if those guys become the number one, number two starting pitchers that the Yankees are hoping for, then watch out, because they're going to score runs. This Yankee team is going to score a boatload of runs for a long time. The question of a dynasty or a team that can win multiple championships is how the pitchers develop.
Now, there is a dilemma with all this. Michael brings it up all the time. You can't call all these guys up. And they're a relatively young team. I don't think they're, outside of Gardner, they're not a really old team as far as 1 through 9 is concerned. So will there be some juggling? Will there be some talent lost over the years just because there's no place to put them?
Yeah, you'll have to do that. I think that Brian Cashman has done a really good job of making trades when he knows that he has excess talent in the minor leagues. He did it a couple times last year, and you're going to see that again this season. I think June, July rolls around. The Yankees are, first or second place where they want to be. You're going to see Cash, kind of use some of those trade chips, look at his depth chart for the next 3 or 4 years and say, okay, who doesn't fit in? There are going to be top 10 prospects in the Yankee system that just don't fit in because they're blocked by, the Aaron Judges and Giancarlo Stantons of the world. And I think Cash do a good job of getting something in return for those prospects.
Stanton, I don't know how much time you spent around him. Can he handle New York? He said it's not going to be an issue. Can he handle New York and the media pressure that comes along with playing in New York?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that Giancarlo Stanton knows what he got himself into. He was playing at the $5 blackjack table, and now he's playing at the $100 table. He gets that. And, he's going to get a lot of scrutiny. He's a power hitter. He's going to go through his ups and downs, and he knows that when he's down, he's going to have 20 media members with microphones in his face saying, what's wrong? And it's just going to have to be a part of his first year in pinstripes dealing with that type of stuff. And as long as he doesn't say something stupid or do something stupid off the field, he's going to be fine because his talent's going to shine through over the long season.
Now, I thought Reggie Jackson said something very astute. Now, I don't know if he was trying to be smart about it, but he said he better play good, which means that he's going to get a lot of heat if he starts off as one home run at the end of April. Do you agree that it would behoove him and the Yankees to just play like he plays and not get that slow start that Didi had and that Tino had when he came?
Yeah, that I had. Listen, I think I was hitting 200 with 2 homers through April my first year at the Yankees, and ended up finishing, second in the MVP with the World Series ring. So I think it's going to have to be one of those take your lumps because you're going to have them for Stanton. And I think Reggie is trying to be funny. Reggie loves those one-liners. If Giancarlo Stanton comes out and has a terrible April and gets hot, he can make up. People will forget about it really quickly. And I think everyone understands that the Yankees are going to be in it. Now, what exactly does that mean? They're going to be in it for the long haul. And his concentration needs to be doing his work over 162, not worrying about the ups and downs.
Are you comfortable with him in the outfield in games, especially in National League parks, when you don't have the DH, or if you want to give somebody else the DH and throw him out there in the outfield for a dozen or however many games it's going to be?
Yeah, I think he's a fine outfielder. There's very few players out there that are Gold Glove fielders and MVP winners with the bat. So, him being an average defender, absolutely, I think he's about maybe even above average from what I've seen. He's learning left field. Is he going to miss a few balls here and there? Yeah. will he get a couple days off in National League parks? Yeah. I mean, I think everyone, that's kind of part of interleague play is someone gets left out of an American League lineup in National League parks. And some days it'll be Judge, and some days it'll be Sanchez, some days it'll be Stanton, because, they're going to rotate that DH a little bit, give guys some breathers, make sure they're healthy for the long season. But of all the things, I do not worry about Stanton. He is not the thing that I'm worrying about for the Yankees. I'm worrying about the health of the starting pitching, and if the starting pitching holds up, this team's going to win a lot of games.
All right, now it's not official yet, Mark, but it came out during the week that it looks like the Yankees and the Red Sox are going to play in London next year. And I just remember when the Yankees played the Rays. I believe this is before you got to the Yankees in Japan. Mike Messina did not leave his hotel and packed like 3 jars of peanut butter and just stayed in his hotel the entire time. Do players like these trips, or is it a nuisance and an inconvenience?
Well, first of all, Mike Messina is definitely on his own program, no matter where he is. So I don't know if I'd use him as the as the flag bearer here. But what I will say is that we are creatures of habit. Players that are, you're going across the Atlantic Ocean in a different country and multiple time zones. It's going to be tough on the everyday players. Jet lag's going to be in there. You just hope someone doesn't get hurt. But hopefully they'll just enjoy it for what it is. If you would have asked me my rookie year, would have I've loved it? Absolutely. Get to go to London and be a part of all the hoopla. My last few years when I'm hurt and you're grinding through the season, maybe not so much. So I think you'll see a mixed bag from the players.
I will tell you this though, Mark, about this trip. Like when the Yankees went to Japan, Yes broadcasted the game. That's a bear of a flight. That's like 17, 19 hours. London's like a trip to Seattle. I don't think it's going to upset them that much.
You're right. I think that's a good point. The biggest question will just be, how's the locker room? How are the facilities?
Right.
How's the playing surface? God forbid someone slips because, they're not used to having, baseball fields out there. Those are the things that we'll have to worry about for the Yankees and the Sox. But, 2 games, 5 or 6 hour flight, that's not going to be a big deal.